Lately I've been feeling things change. We've been working hard, no sleep, get it every day. And I swear that we ain't stopping till we pay. Yeah, the pressure on, gotta make it work, triple play, yeah.
This is Triple Play Fantasy Basketball Week 18. Man, playoffs right around the corner. With the All-Star break, we took a little break ourselves. The NBA, they do definitely give them enough time to recuperate and get back on it. What's your takeaways from All-Star Weekend? It's a little underwhelming, my friend.
I'll be honest. I did not watch anything of All-Star Weekend, and I don't feel like I missed out.
No Rising Stars?
I watched a little bit of that, but and you can ask David, this is something that we would religiously mark on our calendars when we were growing up, 05 to, 2010, 2011. But then after that, like the All-Star game itself has never been, good competition. The stars don't wear the piece in slam dunk contests. Like, it's just not enjoyable.
Like, take some pride. I hate this. Like, you're letting like Cat drop 50. Like, it's undelayed defense every play. Yeah. It's frustrating. Like, we want to see y'all go at each other and defend.
Just cancel the All-Star game, honestly.
I don't.
They wouldn't because it makes too much money, but
yeah, man, I hate to say this, but I think LeBron has a lot to do with it not being super competitive.
LeBron slander? I'm
yeah.
here for it.
Well, he never did the dunk contest. That always sat wrong with me to begin with.
Keep it going, James. Keep it going.
Is this recording? I don't know if I can do this anymore. But yeah, I think that his approach to the game in general is taking a step because they're going to follow his lead. So I don't know. Well, the celebrity game had big bump, and the dunk contest was whack. It was just, it was a bad, I don't know. It just was not fun.
It's a watered down product. They changed the rules, and I think that's something that's always gonna.
I'm a pro. Let's do a 1v1 tournament.
People would never do that, but I'm with you.
Like, somebody will. Like, Cam Thomas will sign up. Like,
well, the stars will, but the ISO players will.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and yeah, maybe like LeBron James may not do it, but let's say Jaylen Brown wants to be in it. Like, I want to watch it. I want to see him go heads up with anybody and somebody make the name for themselves. One-on-one is a good thing. Like, it's something that's visually appealing, and why don't they do that?
James is getting on his old man rant right now. I forgot
we gotta do something. We gotta change it.
James forgot we're talking about fantasy basketball. It's just on his monologue.
Make some changes.
On his rocker.
Week 18. It's a big stream week. We see Tuesday is the only day that you're gonna have a full lineup, but every other day, this is a real important week. And so you gotta stay on point with your ads. With pickups, 18 teams have 3. 12 have 4. Those teams include the Nets, the Celtics, the Cavs, the Mavs, Detroit basketball, the Warriors, the Pacers, the Grizzlies, which we don't know what they do with their lineup every night, Miami, Minnesota, New York Knickerbockers, and the Toronto Raptors. So it's one more, but even if you have a player with 3, you're not getting hit as much. It's a pretty even week. Monday, Tuesday, streamers, you got the Nets, the Pistons, the Heat, and the Knicks. If you're looking to get a couple of games extra at the beginning of the week, look towards those teams. And then at the back end, the Suns play Saturday and Sunday. Well, they only play 3 games. They play Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to talk about Bol Bol. He went crazy, but maybe hold off on his pickup just yet at this point in the week. Well, I'm saying definitely hold off. But Tre Mann, if he's sitting there, get him. He got traded, and he's flourishing with the Charlotte Hornets in the last 2 weeks since he's been traded. 14 points, 7 crazy boards, 5 dimes, a couple threes, 1.5 steals. Atlanta, he went crazy with 21 points, 8 boards, 6 dimes, 4 threes, 2 steals. What say you about Tre Mann? He's only 46% rostered, but 40% in the last week.
James, we talked about it in 2 weeks. Remember? I said, ain't no
Yes.
love of my man. Chew
Yep.
up. The 7 rebounds really jumps out to me. The scoring. Is it fair to say that LaMelo Ball doesn't come back this season? He's going to miss his 14th consecutive game. I think that's now a pipe dream at that point. So insert Tre Mann for having value from now till the fantasy playoffs. And besides blocks, he's given you value in every category. He's 46.3% is great for a guard. He's played at least 30 minutes in every game besides the first one when he got to Charlotte. And you know what? Charlotte could be seeing what they have in the future. Like, I don't think Tre Mann will carry this value into next season, but he could be LaMelo's backup. And look at that picture. He has the 100 emoji tattooed on his right shoulder. That's kind of tough.
Absolutely. And sometimes you just need to be instilled with like a new role, and wearing number 23 in Charlotte, like I think that's kind of ironic.
You make it seem like it's like Mike. like the shoes. He's wearing 23 in Charlotte. He got Jordan skills now.
You know what else? New facing for Charlotte looks cool. Seth Curry in the number 30
that jersey. Is tough.
It looks really cool, man. His dad's calling the games. When they made the trade, I didn't even really think about the homecoming that is. Now he's playing in his home arena where he grew up shooting at these hoops, which you've been to.
Yeah, Spectrum Center. Kind of whack, but it's cool.
Yeah, you talked about that. Grant Williams, he's the center eligibility now. So that's pretty cool. Power forward center eligible. And since he's been traded to Charlotte with the new look, he's been shooting the lace out the ball in the last 2 weeks. 17.5 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, 2.5 threes, shooting 49%. He's doing what Dallas wanted him to do when he came in. So 2 people that are benefiting from the trade deadline, and he's highly available in most leagues.
Points, rebounds, threes. As you can see, he hasn't been passing the ball, been shooting well from the field. I mean, 2.5 threes over the last 2 weeks. But James, like February 22nd against the Jazz, he went 6 of 11 from 3. Like, that's a little bit of a higher ceiling than we probably thought from Grant Williams at the beginning of the season. Once again, Mark Williams probably isn't going to play for the rest of the season. That opens up the front court. Nick Richards has been dinged up. So, insert Grant Williams, who's now multi-position eligible. I definitely think he's worth an ad as well.
Moving on to someone that we featured quite a bit on this show throughout the year. In categories leagues, he's holding strong. He's only 15% rostered. In the last 2 weeks, a sample size of 11 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. We've seen this kind of all season long. He's been producing in these 3 categories, and he's playing 30 minutes a game. So he's keeping strong with his role, and there are worse options out there. Like I mentioned, 15% for these types of stats is, there's 12-team leagues that there's players on people's teams that are not as good as this guy.
Have I called him Nemi?
No, you called him mid-heart. No, I just made that up, but you called him mid.
I mean, he was a little mid to begin the season. But what I think is interesting with Indiana now, I think they're finalizing their rotation for the future. They've locked in Tyrese Halliburton. Obviously, he's going to be making the Supermax. Miles Turner, they signed to an extension. They traded for Siakam. That solidifies 3 out of their starting 5. They got rid of Buddy Hield. And the way that Andrew Nembhard has been playing with over 30 minutes a night, I think they're factoring him as the backcourt mate with Tyrese Halliburton. I don't think you can expect 61%. But from a categories league, like he's rebounding the ball, he's passing, he has 7 steals over the last 3 games. I think somebody that, once again, categories leagues provides more value, but you got to love the minutes that he's getting.
Yeah, he's a decent defender. He plays well with Halliburton, and we've seen that. So, because he has a little bit of that combo-esque where he can play make. He can play off the ball a little bit. He's just a good, solid team player, and I think they hit on that pick.
When you play, Tyrese Halliburton may be the one person that everybody's fantasy stock goes up when you're paired with him.
Yeah, that's for sure. But our league leader in assists, and he's running away with that. DeAndre Hunter missed some time with a knee injury, but since he came back, he's shooting 48% from 3, and he's making nearly 3 a game. He's playing like 24 minutes, so they're not maxing out his minutes, but he's been producing in those minutes, and he's looking more like a 100% version of himself, and he's dropping 20 balls left and right. DeAndre Hunter, 38% rostered. He's pretty good. I mean, he's let me down before. I've picked him up and I've had to drop him. You don't feel bad about dropping a DeAndre Hunter, but when he's, giving you 20 a game basically in the last 4 games,
Yeah,
he's
I mean
worth a look.
this ain't continuing, James. He hasn't played 30 minutes over the last month or so, topping out at 28 points, like 23 points in 28 minutes. Like that's not continuing. Like, nah. Categories league, I mean, 4.7 rebounds is okay, but like, come on, that for the defensive stats, 0.7 rebounds, 0.7 blocks over the last 2 weeks. Like he was drafted to be partially a 3-and-D guy. He's 26 years old. Time is kind of ticking on that.
Yeah, and then we all know the Hawks have a log jam at that position, so they definitely have to make some movements in this offseason, whether it is shaking up that backcourt of Murray and Trae Young, or
they might get rid of Trae Young. That actually I think might be the better move.
There's rumors he may go to the Lakers.
Crickets.
I would love to see that. All right, Ziaire Williams, Sierra Canyon's finest. Last 2 weeks, 14 points, 3 boards, 2 assists. He had 27 points against Milwaukee, where he hit 4 threes. Leave him on the free agency. If you ask me.
You know what? Pay attention to those Memphis injury reports, because I mean, if Vince Williams is out, James, you picking him up? If GG Jackson's out, you picking him up, James?
Nah.
Somebody's got to score the ball.
I feel like he has proven that he can't score at this level consistently.
I mean, he'll take the shot attempts though. I mean, 22 minutes, 36 minutes, 30 over the last 3 games, and that was after he came back from injury. So they're just throwing him back in the fire. Like
they traded up to get him. I think they whiffed on this one. I think GG Jackson is the player that you're looking at. GG Jackson's only 37% rostered. We didn't put him on the shows because he's been on the past couple shows, but he's the option that you get on a free agency if he's there.
For sure. I mean, deep leagues, and like I said, if they shut down Jaren Jackson Jr. at some point, if they have,
I think they will.
I think they will too. And I'm going to put in quotations, phantom injury reports, GG Jackson ankle issue, or they suspend him again for violating team rules. Like Ziaire is the stream, I think.
All right. Jeremy Sochan.
Ooh, -1% rostered. Interesting.
I finally let him stick with my team. I don't want to see somebody else get him and, make me pay when it comes to playoffs. Categories leagues, he's good enough to be rostered in 10-team leagues. So in last week, 15.5 points, 10.5 rebounds. We know he's a good assist number for a big guy, 3.5, 2 steals. Shout out Jeremy Sochan, who this was not my decision. This was Doc. So I think Doc's coming along. He's finally drinking the Kool-Aid of Jeremy Sochan.
Let's be fair. I have never said bad things about him. I just said that you were having an unhealthy obsession.
Watch it there, pal.
I just said you have an unhealthy obsession with him.
Watch it there.
But I mean, look at that. 15 points, 13 rebounds. Like, I mean, we're not gonna turn a blind eye to that. 2 steals that game. Point guard, power forward eligible. Now he's gonna kill you from 3. Don't stream him for 3s at all, but he's getting the minutes, and like him and Wemby look good together. James, I know obviously Wemby isn't a free agent ad, but back-to-back 5 steal, 5 block games. Yeah. Like San Antonio got something cooking.
He's going first round next year, no doubt.
Where would you take Wemby?
First round. I would
no. Like, first round is too ambiguous.
I will number 8 at the top of my head. 8, maybe.
I feel like
7.
I feel like he's going to be a top 5 pick based on upside.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that. We were talking about Keldon Johnson before we coming on. Like, he's a little underwhelming, man. And when it comes down to this time of the year and you're in the playoffs, do not hold back. Like, lose guys like that to try to stream and win when you are in the playoffs. He's somebody that I'll be looking for to possibly moving on, depending on like a roster situation where people are playing more games in that final week.
Keldon Johnson has a low ceiling. I think that's like a solid floor, but very low ceiling. And depending on how you construct your roster, the type of owner you are, I think James brings up a really good point. Don't get too attached to name value.
Yeah, I mean, because he's 78% rostered, nearly 80% in Yahoo leagues, and so I just wanted to point that out. That don't hold on to some guys when it comes to you really need to make a move. Duncan Robinson, we were talking about people shooting the hell out of the ball. He's doing it again, so he gets featured again. 29% roster. You know that this doesn't hold up. You know he's going to have his ups and downs, but in the last 2 weeks, hitting 5 threes a game, that's solid production. And so he gets a shout out again on our show. Pick him up while he's hot and then drop him when he's not.
Yeah, I mean, Miami, I feel like this year has just been depleted with injuries. They trade for Terry Rozier, then he sprains his knee. Jimmy Butler was out with some personal issues. They already
Jaquez has not looked the same since he's come back. Either.
Yeah, Jaime Jaquez hasn't been shooting the ball as aggressively. Tyler Hero has been day to day. He exited the Pelicans game early with a knee or ankle issue. Miami already played an 8-man rotation before, so that frees up. I'm not going to say more minutes, but a more consistent role for Duncan Robinson. 30 or more minutes, 3 out of the last 4 games.
Yep.
And like you said, shooting the heck out of it from 3, and he's giving you a little bit more categories than we've seen in years past.
Yeah, he's been decent at dimes his whole career. So
you said he's been decent. Wait. You said he's been decent at dimes.
Yeah. In his career.
James, this is the first year he's averaged over 2 assists. His previous high was 1.8 in 2020, 2021.
Okay.
You got exposed.
I guess. I mean, I just always thought he was pretty good a passer when he's doing the DHO actions with Bam Adebayo. Maybe the sample size. Maybe he had a good playoff run that I'm thinking back on. But regardless, averaging 3 this season, which is, like I said, decent. I didn't say wowing. Now, a wowing performance that we can point out was Bol Bol's 25-14, 2 threes, 1-1 on a tail end against Houston. We know Nurkic was out, so he got more usage, more play. He's 5% rostered. I say don't get him now, but if it's Thursday, he's worth a pickup for the end of the week as they play Thursday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I would pay attention to Nurkic's injury report. I would put Bol Bol on your watch list right now, so there's a shortcut to get him. But even if Nurkic does play Saturday, he could be out Sunday. Just because he's healthy, maybe they don't play him back-to-backs. So that's a viable stream. I don't think he sits out a game and then plays all 3 next week. Now, albeit the fact that they do have a rest, and they don't play again until Thursday, I think does bode well for him. But, power forward center eligible, and maybe he doesn't give you 25 and 14, but he gives you 12 and 10. I think you'd take that.
Yeah, when he plays minutes, he's fantasy relevant. We saw that with Orlando last year, and then he dropped off the face of the earth with their rotation. But if he does play minutes, he'll get you some blocks and get hit some threes, and he rebounds. So somebody to keep in mind, especially later on in the week. Taylor Hendricks. First career start. So it does show that Utah is doing some things with their roster position. We see Keontae George being pushed into the starting lineup, playing more minutes than he had all season, as Jazz are probably looking to not win as many games down stretch. 12 points, 9 boards in that 26 minutes. He's somebody to watch on 5% roster. And if he's going to be starting going forward, he's somebody to think about. And in college, he's a stock machine with his blocks and rebounds. So, blocks and steals. So he's somebody to look at for Utah.
Yeah, he was the 9th pick in the draft. And James, like we talked about, like Utah isn't playing for contention this year. So, they've been playing Walker Kessler a little bit more minutes. They have a lot of young talent, and I think they want to see if they're part of the future. I think the organization has to decide if they're going to extend Markkanen and have him be the franchise cornerstone, or if they're going to trade that and continue a rebuild. But Taylor Hendricks, 20 years old. I know we brought up the 12 points, 9 rebounds, but the first game he played, February 8th, at the Suns, 3.8 rebounds in 18 minutes. Like he's someone that's going to get the ball when it comes off the rim. It's a fancy way of saying rebounds.
Yeah, I liked him coming out the draft too. So I'm liking him to get a little bit more opportunity. He's battling with Kelly Olynyk, who
I said nah.
You don't like Kelly?
Let
me hear you out. I just want to.
Not at this point in the season. I think they're tailoring his minutes down a little bit. I mean, he is with the Canadian Toronto Raptors. I know you got a Jazz jersey on there, so maybe the fact that he's with the Raptors in his hometown gives him a little bit of a bump. But I think they're kind of kicking the tires and just view him as a franchise or piece for next season.
Yeah. And then lastly, Mo Wagner, who we all know got knocked out by Killian Hayes. But he woke up and he gets buckets when you put him in the game. That's
It's interesting. So he, when they beat the Cavs, first game out of the All-Star break, and he's like, now you're seeing who's really playing and who isn't. Like, that's a bold thing to say. Magic lead that division, by the way.
Yeah, and Paolo Banchero was crying after he hit the game winner against Detroit in the post-game interview. And I think there is something that when a player is emotionally invested into the game that I like about it. I'm like, I know it's not a great look, like you're crying and stuff, but I mean he cares, and I would put all types of investment into Paolo going forward. Great young player.
I was bored the other day, so I went through and looked at every team's salary cap situation. The Magic could make moves in a couple of years. They have Cole Anthony, who they're paying. Jonathan Isaac's contract is up after next season, but they got a lot of salary cap room 2 to 3 seasons down the road, and Paolo's on his second year, so they're not in a rush to pay him. I think that's a good building block they got.
You mentioned Isaac. He's starting to play a little bit more, and he played a back-to-back the other night. I mean, that bodes well for him and just for Orlando going forward. Hopefully he can get back to something of his former self. But you see it in spurts when watching a game. He'll have a play here, play there. That's like, oh, okay, this is why, he got paid the max.
Yeah. I mean, he's averaging 15 minutes on the season, but he's come back from 2 ACL tears, so you just got to respect that he's back on the court.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you hit us a like, hit us a sub, comment. We comment back. Respect as always. Thank you so much for tuning in. It felt like it'd been a while, but for Doc, I'm Coach. Good luck this week. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Except if you're the Lakers.
Yeah. Trae Young, 2025. Let's get it.
Lately I've been feeling things change. We've been working hard, no sleep, get it every day. And I swear that we ain't stopping till we pay. Yeah, the pressure on, gotta make it work, triple play.